Hi, this is Scott Arnaud with a security tip for the holidays. Let's talk about holiday safety tips while you shop. We're going to talk about before, while, and after you shop online. So the holidays coming up, we all know what's coming, Cyber Monday. So before you shop, be sure that all of the software on your computer, laptop, or phone is totally up to date. This includes the operating system, any antivirus software you have, and yes, you should have antivirus software, the browser software, and any third-party software, anything else in your computer, make sure it's as up to date as possible. Because the more up to date, there's less avenues for hackers to attack your computer. This means not only updated in terms of all software updates, but make sure you're using the most current version of the software. Like if your browser is on version 23, make sure you're not using version 17. It's not hard to check, make sure you do it. Now, in terms of updating all of your third-party stuff, that means not literally, let's say you're using a Mac, not the Apple software, if you're using a PC, not the Microsoft software. The other stuff can be automated to some extent. Mind you, you can also automate stuff through Mac and through Microsoft, but that can be done directly through the computer. For the other stuff, if you have a PC, there's a couple of programs I would recommend. One is called FileHippo, which is very good at letting you know what programs need to be updated. And my personal favorite is one called the Personal Software Inspector from Secunia. That's S-E-C-U-N-I-A, and that's secunia.com. That not only lets you know what needs to be updated, its default setting is to automatically put the updates in place for you. Now, of course, if you're a Mac user, you might feel a little left out with those two, but there's one for Mac as well called AppFresh. And AppFresh will also let you know exactly what needs to be updated. You can just check off the list and update them, no problem. Next, you want to run a full disk malware scan of your PC or Mac. Now, you're wondering, your Mac, does that really get malware? Yeah, they get malware. That's just an ad campaign, don't believe it. Now for Mac, what you can get, there are a few different antivirus software packages, quite good. A couple of free ones are offered by Sophos, which is a British antivirus company. They do great work. It's S-O-P-H-O-S, and another one from a company called Avast, also based in Europe. Now, if you'd like to go for the slightly higher end, there's paid software from a company called Intego, and their Mac software is called Virus Barrier, and it's very well reviewed. Another idea you can also run is something called Malwarebytes. That's B-Y-T-E-S. That's an excellent program, and you usually run it on top of your antivirus stuff. And what that'll do is it'll scan through your system, find any things like Trojans or worms or other bad things on the system, and can clean them off for you. And there's a free version, it's very effective. Now, next you want to make sure you have strong, unique passwords for all of your shopping accounts, and don't share them with anybody. Make sure that, let's say you're using an account for your Facebook account, it's not also the account you use for Amazon. So if someone compromises that Facebook account, they can use that on your Amazon account, break in and steal stuff from you, and that's not good. Also, if you don't already have one, set up a non-administrative account to browse the internet and do your shopping. Computers normally come with administrative accounts set up as the normal default account. You should leave it in place, but set up basically a guest or standard account, which will allow you to browse the web without having the ability to download, edit, or delete programs, which is exactly what malware will try and do in the background. If it's doing that while you're surfing the web with a non-administrative account, you won't have to worry about it because they won't have the access to cause that kind of damage. Now, as an extra precaution, one other thing you can do when shopping, many credit card issuers will actually give you a temporary credit card number if you ask for one. That way, when you go shopping for the day, you have a card that will work, but then the next day, should someone happen to take it and steal it off a site, it won't work. Now, while you're shopping, what do you have to watch out for? For one thing, don't use public Wi-Fi or public computers to shop. Reason for that is that there's definitely software out there which can basically break into your program while you're working on it, steal your password, steal your login information, steal your credit card information. Needless to say, this is best avoided. Also, be wary of deals that are emailed to you. It's really easy to what's called spoof a sender's name or even the email address in an email. That way it may look like it's coming from a store that's popular and you're familiar with, but it's not really coming from them. Now, one thing you can do is a lot of these will have links in them to send you like, hey, check out this great deal the next 5 hours, click on this link. Well, before you click on that link, take the mouse on your computer and hover over the link. Because when you hover over the link, you get basically a display of where the link really goes to, not what it says. It'll show up in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. And that's what you actually want to look at because that's where it's going to. And often the link will say something like, okay, this is going to JCPenney or it's going to Nordstrom. But the actual little symbol sitting in the lower left side of the computer says it's going to a whole bunch of jumbles and numbers and stuff and you've never heard of it. Don't go there. One other thing to watch out for is something called SEO poisoning. SEO is search engine optimization. And that just means trying to make keywords in a website that will show up in a search. Now, the way this is done in terms of a scam, this SEO poisoning, is that words will be set up to pull you in, or maybe pictures that look really interesting. It might be a deal that just seems too good to be true. Generally, they are too good to be true. Don't click on them. And also, steer clear of sites that you don't know that seem to be offering familiar products. Generally, if it looks too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Now, one other thing you might want to do, when you are getting your online shopping done, do it by credit card rather than debit card. The reason for this is that a credit card offers certain protections and a debit card doesn't. The way they work is a debit card takes right out of your bank account directly, almost like you're writing a check. A credit card is paid for by the company and then you pay them back. Now, the reason this is an important distinction is because you are not liable if something happens and there's a theft involving the credit card, and as a result, the companies tend to be a lot more responsive with those than they are on the debit cards. Also, make sure to print or save your receipts, just in case for later. And when you are going around, we mentioned that SEO poisoning later, check what's called the URL. That's that thing right across the top of the screen, the little address bar. It stands for Uniform Resource Locator. You don't need to know that, it's no test later. But that lets you know where you actually are on the internet. And frequently, a site that looks like it's legit is not, and the URL will give it away because that'll show you where you actually are. And it could be something minor, like if it's a close what's called a mirror site, where it may look like, say, your bank, except it's Citibank and it's spelled wrong. Maybe there's an extra C in there or an extra K or something. You keep an eye out and you'll be able to catch that. Also, when you're shopping, make sure to look for what's called HTTPS, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. That just means the internet, the secured version of it. There'll also be a little closed padlock symbol. That means the site is kept secure and encrypted. It's a lot safer to go shop on. And if you happen to be on a phone or a tablet, you won't actually be able to look at that HTTPS because the URL generally is not readily visible, and even when it is, it's a shorter version of it. So one thing you can always do that's safe is go to the vendor's app directly. Like, let's say you want to go shop through Best Buy, go to bestbuy.com. You can go right through their app. Now, after you shop, make sure you keep your receipts and check them against your credit card statements as soon as they arrive, just to make sure everything lines up. And most importantly, enjoy the holidays. Take care.